Welcome to Garage Gym Athlete Ask Me Anything. It's pretty simple. I'll be answering questions from the thousands of athletes that follow our daily programming. If you have a question or topic you want submitted, go to garagegymathlete.com/AMA. Let's get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
How's it going?
It's going well, man. We have a good question from Craig today. Craig Lewis, he's been on the podcast a couple times, and I think he just has a great question for our more dedicated athletes, the long-term athletes who, want to stick around, want to see progress, but it's kind of like a mindset on that progress and plateaus. So here's the question. He said, after 3 years of solid training and multiple PRs, most cycles, what do you recommend for athletes when they hit a plateau or their improvements slow down? How do you stay motivated? Do you switch focus on the goals to something more specific? Is it adjusting the mindset to realize that progress is still being made, but just slower? So I think I have a great response to how I do this, and maybe it will be helpful. And then Joe, whatever you got, man. But I've been doing this type of training per our standards for longer than anyone else because I created it. I've been doing it for years before it was even a thing at Garage Gym Athlete. It used to be End of 3 Fit back in the day. I think Joe might be the only person who really remembers that. And, how do I stay motivated? And that's why we have the standards in place. So we have fitness standards for our community. And the goal for me is we have recruit, we have established, and competitor. And each different parameter that we test has its own set of parameters. And I look at this now as a checklist thing. And this is how I also keep with being okay, because the PR mentality, it can't be forever. You can't get a back squat PR forever. You can't get a 2K row time PR forever. You just can't. So you have to it is impossible. If it wasn't impossible, you would be the world record holder in a lot of things. So how do you adjust then? This is how I look at things now. For me, I don't care about PRs really at all. I'm not trying to hit PRs in almost anything. What I'm trying to do is maintain that competitor level fitness across all categories. And this is what keeps me challenged every single 12 weeks, all across the board, year after year, because it is very hard to have every single element in our standards at the competitor level all the time. You have to be really dialed in. So, and if you want to get lazy for one cycle, this has happened to me before. And by lazy, I mean, I wasn't hitting the intensities I should have. And some of the intervals in my 2K row pops up above that 7-minute time, because that's one of our tests. I'm like, damn it. Now I'm one level out. And by my own standard, if you're one element out of competitor, you're completely out of competitor. You're established. So if I had everything was at the competitor level, but one little thing wasn't, then I'm established. And now I've moved to established athlete. That's going to piss me off. And so I'm going to work really hard that next cycle to make sure everything's back into that competitor level. It is a very hard thing to continue to do. And I know Craig is a little more strength focused. So I do think that his question may have been directed a little bit more at that. But this is how I stay motivated and that also when I go into Fit Week and I'm testing all these things, it's a checklist item for me now. It's not a PR mindset at all. It's like the 2X on back squat, or is it deadlift or whatever, I think it's 1.75 on back squat and 2 on deadlift. So let's just say I'm 180 pounds. I got to hit 360 on the deadlift to hit that 2X number. I can deadlift a lot more than that, but I go into Fit Week, I lift 360. If I'm good with that, I'm good. I don't care about anything else. I don't care if I hit 445 or 425. I don't care. I got above 360. I'm at the competitor level there. I have 14 other tests now I need to worry about. And so sometimes I don't even max out all the way. I just check, am I in the competitor? Great. Moving on to the next test. So I'm not even trying to PR or lift the heaviest I possibly could most of the time anymore. I'm just checking off each little parameter to see if I'm the competitor. If I'm not, then I'm like, okay, what do I have to do next cycle to make sure that this thing happens? So that's how I've looked at it for a very long time period. It's kept me happy. I don't care about PRs as much. I just care about maintaining a really high level of fitness, and it's very hard to do.
Yeah, along the same lines of just changing mindsets of not always shooting for PRs. I usually, for when I go into cycles, there will be something that I'm just thinking that I want to improve on. Like I want my run times to either be better or feel better, or I just want to get my strict press up or something like that. But how with all of our testing standard with conditioning and strength, it's like I want to improve something, but this still has to stay where it's at. I'm not going to sacrifice my conditioning because I want to get a little stronger, or vice versa. I'm not going to sacrifice my run times just because of any of that. So that's just how I've gone to approach it as well, and thinking long term with the improvements of what I want to do for the whole year as well. And I mean, if you're still improving on one thing but still maintaining the other, then that's great. Versus some people will strive for these strength measures, and then when they hit the strength measures, go, okay, cool, I did that once. Now let's do something else, and box is checked. And then it's like, what happens after that? So it's getting up to that, and you're basically juggling plates or whatever, just to keep up and maintain. But plateaus, they're definitely bound to happen. It just depends on what you really want to focus on and strive for.
Yeah, and then the last thing I would say is we've tried to model our new reward system. So this question was asked before he'd officially announced it, but we've tried to model our new reward system around that. So the PRs at the bottom, we want you to get the 1 PR black shirt. We want you to get the 5 PR red shirt. And then the 10 PR lifetime, I think, is a realistic, doable thing, like hitting that amount of PRs, because it could be across multiple different elements that we test. But then after that, we kind of want you done with the PR mindset and mentality. Our rewards after that are doing hard things and meet yourself Saturday workouts. It's maintaining 80% consistency over a cycle. And then it's maintaining 80% consistency over 5 consecutive cycles. That's just, those things are much harder to do and are going to make you better than hitting a PR on the back squat or front squat or whatever. And that's kind of where we want people, after you've achieved those PR metrics in our community, like, let's move on. Let's talk about consistency. Let's talk about mental toughness for the long haul. And that's where I really want every veteran athlete like Craig and everyone else in the program to have their mindset after the PR thing has been achieved.
I think this is a little bit more geared toward the veteran people that have been here for multiple cycles versus like the newer ones. Yeah, PRs are going to be coming a lot, but then once you get all your PR, like just think about if you add about 20% to whatever your metrics are now, then think of it from a year from now of like, okay, now I just need to maintain this, and then I'll just kind of creep a little bit from there. So it's not that we're just throwing out PRs in general, but after you've improved everywhere, then can you maintain that?
Yeah, and if you agree with our elements that are what we test, the different, like 16 different parameters that we have, a new PR could be how many elements do I have in the competitor level or established level? You know what I mean? Like if you're like, hey, last cycle, I had 9 out of 16 in the competitor level. Let's see if I can get 12 out of 16 this cycle, or 10 or whatever. Like that's a new way to look at PRs that's different than just always weight on the bar or going faster.
Yep.
Cool. All right, guys, that is it for this Ask Me Anything. If you want to ask a question, go to garagegymathlete.com/AMA. Ask a question, we'll get it answered. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss the future episodes that come out. And you can see our smiling, not so smiling face. I don't know if we ever actually smile. Anyway, you can catch us on YouTube, and then a podcast, 5-star review, positive comment, guys. We really, really appreciate it. And I know I say that every time, but like, I'm serious. You hear me now. Please go do it right now. It'll be awesome. I would be so grateful if you went and left a 5-star review, positive comment. But that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed today's Ask Me Anything episode. So one more time, if you want to submit a question, topic, or idea, you can do so at garagegymathlete.com/AMA. And hey, while you're there, if you haven't already, sign up for Garage Gym Athlete membership. We are the best community and programming on the internet. I dare you to try and prove me wrong.